Welcome to From Betrayal to Breakthrough. I'm Dr. Debbie Silber, and today's guest is Elena Mosaner. Elena is an ICF, International Coach Federation Certified Professional Coach, NGH, National Guild of Hypnotists Certified Hypnotherapist, and author. She holds a Bachelor of Science degree in creative writing and film, as well as a Master of Science degree in executive coaching and organizational behavior. Throughout the last 15 years, she's worked with celebrities and professional athletes and high-level executives, and she's helped more than 1,000 people transform into their best using hypnosis therapy and coaching. Mosaner sees clients from all over the world, online, via Zoom, and holds self-hypnosis and personal growth workshops a few times a year. She was featured by the New York Times, New York Post, and ABC Good Morning America as one of the top New York City hypnotherapists. She is a founder of Alpha Mind Self-Hypnosis app. Learn more about her at elenamosaner.com. So today we're talking about hypnosis, and don't worry, you're not going to be doing anything weird or uncomfortable by listening. I'm having a conversation with Elena Mosaner, who is a hypnotherapist who uses hypnosis to help her clients move past physical, mental, and emotional pain. If you've been stuck, you are going to really appreciate this episode. Here's Elena. Okay, everybody, we have Elena Mosaner with us today. We're going to be talking about hypnosis. And you know, I always subscribe to all these different ways to help us heal. And we haven't spoken about hypnosis yet. So let's learn more about it. Welcome, Elena.
Hi, Debbie. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, of course. So let's just dive into hypnosis. What is it, and how could it possibly help us when we're healing from betrayal?
Sure. Well, as you know, hypnosis is a state of mind. It's a special state, very similar to meditation or focused attention. And I like to look at it as a process through which you can reprogram yourself, and you can reprogram your past in some ways. You can also learn how to be really present, more in the moment. But you can also look into the future, and you can sort of time travel and design a more exciting outcome-based future. How it can help you in those specific ways. You can heal your past, especially if you were betrayed. You can do things like create a different meaning, a different narrative about what happened. So instead of crying, maybe you can laugh in your past. Maybe you look at certain memories, and you create a new meaning, new understanding. And instead of beating yourself up or feeling guilty or ashamed, you can say things like, "I didn't know better, and this is the best I did with the resources that I had."
So let's get real practical here, because I know my listeners, my viewers, they're like, okay, that sounds nice to just look back on it. Instead of cry, I can laugh. But how do you really do that?
Well, practically, how do you do that through hypnosis? Is you are deeply relaxed. You're eliciting a so-called relaxation response, which is the opposite of fight or flight response. Your body's relaxed, you're emotionally relaxed, you're becoming much more focused, and you are getting into that state of imagination. So what we can do is we can go back in time when you felt certain emotions, and you can say thank you to your younger self, your younger version of yourself, and say thank you for doing your best. I have gratitude. And maybe you can even rewrite a scenario. Maybe you can take her by the hand and say, let's go out somewhere else, let's go somewhere else, and say to her, this happened because you didn't know better. Or maybe she can embody a wiser self, someone from the future, and her future version can communicate to her past self and give all the wisdom. You are amazing, you're lovable, and things like that. But
Yeah,
every client has their own story.
right. So let's say, because I imagine, could there be any resistance? Because even when you said that, someone could say, well, if you knew better, that was the best you knew at the time. But a betrayal, sometimes we had no idea. It wasn't like we did anything. This is something that, we've experienced. So Is that the type of thing where someone would be resistant? Like, could you be resistant to hearing things like
You
that?
can
Or
be. You can be. That's why these are just the examples. This isn't something that I am coming up with. This is something that the client comes up with. So I ask their older version, their wiser version, to communicate with the younger version. So somebody can say, you just didn't know better. Someone can say something like, these were the circumstances. This is not your fault. Don't beat yourself up. There's nothing wrong with you. Maybe she needs to hear that. So everyone has their own narrative to apply, a better healing narrative to the past story. But these are just examples. But yes, there can be resistance if I, the practitioner, pushing ideas. And that's not my job. My job is to trust the client. They are the expert on their life, and they have all the necessary insight. My job is only to provide the tools, processes, and safety and container to them so that they can do their internal work. But the client comes up with those ideas when they are in that more resourceful state of, of deep relaxation, trance-like state.
so I understand it then. The client is the one who's there asking the questions then, or like, how do you know what, let's say, what their experience is and how they want to look at it or view it? Just
Yeah.
so I
So
understand.
let's say you are deeply relaxed. Go back in time when you felt the feeling that you don't like. Okay, well, I'm 32. This is what happened. I'm feeling. How do you feel? I feel beat up, or I feel guilty. I feel totally ashamed. I feel like, why did I do all sorts of hard feelings. So what we do is I'm going to ask to imagine a regal, beautiful woman standing before you. Okay, she's coming from the future. This is you. And I'll count from one to three. You are going to feel like her. You are going to embody her. And you're going to speak through her voice, her body. What is she telling you right now? So, and she's migrating. She's migrating from one state of mind to another state of mind, from one part of herself to another part of herself. It's easier to go through different parts as opposed to, you can be your whole self. Here I am talking. I am a mother. I'm a hypnotherapist. I'm giving you an interview. In hypnosis, you can kind of compartmentalize. So you can go into that future version, wiser version of you, and speak just from that part. So I'm asking, what do you have to say to a younger version of Elena, or a younger version of Natalie or David? What does she need to hear? And then she says, oh, you are so beautiful. You didn't know better, or this happened because this is there's a great lesson there for you. What? So I'm asking. So what is the lesson? What did you learn? So I'm just
I
using
see.
strategic inquiry, the Socratic inquiry method, without leading, without advising, just using the tools.
Okay, so once the person is in that state, that's when they're picturing that highest or best
Correct.
version of themselves and asking those questions and seeing it from that person's perspective. That makes total sense. How do you know when someone is in that state and they're ready to see that version or even ask those questions? Is it
Yeah.
something you see in their facial expressions? Like, what, how do you know?
Good question. Well, I usually calibrate. Their body is relaxed. Sometimes your eyes roll up a little bit, like when you actually sleep. Most people don't know your eyeballs kind of go up a little bit, right? They roll up, as if you're looking somewhere high up. So your eyes roll up a little bit. Maybe there can be a little twitch or something, but you see that their breathing is slowing down. It becomes very obvious, and it can take anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes to put somebody into that state of deep relaxation, state of hypnosis. We can call it trance, healing trance. And that's how I know. And um and then it's just imagination. uh and in some ways it's not even about, you don't necessarily need to be in that totally deeply relaxed state. You can just close your eyes and you can be giving a permission. Let's play. It's like role playing. You can be on stage playing. There's probably you're aware of these constellation, right? Family constellations where when you do the role playing, and it's kind of hypnotic because you begin to play different roles within yourself. So it can be an actual carpet work like stage, but we're doing it through hypnosis with your eyes closed, because your eyes are closed, you're not distracted by the external environment. But the whole go ahead.
Yeah. So does the person know afterwards? Like, let's say they go through the experience and they come out of it. Do they remember the conversation, or do they just feel better or different because of it?
What I found is people feel better. Most of the time they feel more like, there's an insight, and there's a sense of relief,
Mhm.
you know. Like there's no blaming or beating yourself up. There's just a sense of I'm like that little girl. I'm so innocent. I'm fine. So that's the way to feel better. Do they remember? That's a good question. They can't remember everything word for word. It's almost hard to remember that. But there is a memory. They don't just forget everything as if it has happened in some altered state, some dream-like state that you forget. Um, Unless you create a sort of amnesia, you put them deeply relaxed after that exercise, you put them really deeply relaxed for some time and give them a suggestion you can forget, you're creating an amnesia. They may have a more difficulty trying to remember, but that's, we don't really need that.
Right. And I'm sure there are people who they're a little afraid of hypnosis because, like, I remember, I think I was in college and there was a hypnotist, and, he
Yeah,
brought a few people on stage, and then before you knew it, like, people were clucking like a chicken and barking like a dog and all kinds of stuff.
yeah.
And so, is there a fear, like, where people go and explain, if you can explain that, because to me, that just seems like I would do everything I could to be resistant to that just because of losing that, I guess, sense of control and barking like a dog in front of everybody. So
Yeah,
how do you how do you move past that fear, and what's going on that makes somebody get to a state where that's just what they're doing?
excellent question. And it's natural for somebody to experience that state of fear because of stage hypnosis and all sorts of entertainment shows or even movies that portray hypnosis in such a way. So the way to overcome that fear is, it's for me to build the trust with the client and explain to them what hypnosis really is. And this is exactly what I'm going to try to do right now. Let's talk about stage hypnosis. If you think of stage hypnosis as, here's a hypnotist on stage, and how many people do we have in an audience? Let's say 100 people. Only about 10 of them get up on stage, right? Like 10%. And those 10% already knew they would go get up on stage and do funny things, crazy things. They already gave their permission. They already want to do that. It's not like they're being totally controlled. They're doing crazy things against their will. They know exactly what they're doing. So I'm just kind of revealing the secret behind stage
Hmm. Hmm.
hypnosis. But the job of a stage hypnotist is to make you, the audience, believe as if they are under the spell, under control. It's just more of a kind of like a game that your job your job is to make the audience believe that it is mind control. That's why it becomes so interesting. But it's really not mind control. These people want to be on stage. They want to have fun. They want to be acting like kids. They want to be given permission to act crazy. And we actually see this even in politics, when people act crazy after somebody's giving them permission. It's people want to go that wild sometimes, and stage experience gives them that experience. So they are not they're aware of what they're doing. Sometimes what can happen is that they can, because you are as a stage hypnotist, you're giving them permission, they're going to be just like going completely not judging themselves. They're just going to be completely crazy, pretending and playing. So but again, there is a consent. There's always a consent for them to act this way.
Yes, I could see how there's a consent. So are you saying that that's not real? Like, they're not really hypnotized, or they really are, but because of their consent, they were willing to go that distance.
Well, that's the whole thing. What is real, what's not real? It's real in the sense that they gave their consent. Like if you're coming to see me, if one the client comes to see me and they give their consent
Hmm.
to to achieve, to help me get them achieve healing.
Hmm.
So that's the goal, right? If you are in a stage hypnosis show, you give your consent so that I can make you do those crazy things, right? So that's the goal. Let's have fun. Let's do crazy things. You're gonna pick up your shoe and pretend it's a phone. You know it. You've seen those shows.
Hmm.
Are you
Hmm.
okay with it? Oh yeah, I'm fine with it. I've seen those shows so many times before. You know what's going on. Now, when you come see that when you see a hypnotherapist, you know you're not going there to do those crazy things, right?
Right.
And we have a total understanding of it. I'm here. What would you like? The first thing we ask a psychologist, therapist, what is your outcome? What would you like to achieve? What would make
Hmm.
it productive? I want to feel letting go, or like I want to start a new life, a new chapter. I want to heal. Well,
Hmm.
let's get you to that place.
Got it.
Okay.
So
Now,
I know people who've used hypnosis for weight loss, to stop smoking, all kinds of things like that. How does that work?
so if you want to stop smoking, your goal is to become a non-smoker. It's just really a matter of re-educating yourself, right? In a 30 minute period of the dangers of smoking, the benefits of becoming a non-smoker. You are very, very relaxed. There's no noise, not too much judgment, uh, and all that information is communicated to you. You are becoming more convinced. There's a strong sense of conviction that my job is to relay. You have a strong sense of conviction in your power. You are able to stop, and people want to be empowered. You are now a non-smoker, and you choose to become a non-smoker for the rest of your life. You are tired of it. You're sick of it. You're tired of the smell, and you've lost your need and desire for smoking. So there's a lot of information that is communicated to you that you are not usually communicating to yourself. Your information while being a smoker is, I want to let up a cigarette, is going to make me feel good. That's what you
Hmm.
run with all day long. Oh, I'm going to have my coffee with a cigarette. So there's an association. So I want to understand what your associations are. We're going to talk about that, and we're going to break those associations. From now on, you have a morning a cup of coffee. It's inconsistent with a cigarette, and your job is to listen and process and picture that. I am capable of that. I have no need for a cigarette and enjoy my coffee, so you can picture that. So that's the
Okay.
power of programming through words, through pictures.
And I
Same
guess
thing.
what's really interesting about that is it's the conviction, because if
Yeah.
you were to just say to somebody smoke is bad for you, they they know that, but there's still that draw. But I guess when you're following up with how it's so inconsistent with what they want and who they want to be, then there's that belief, or that what they can begin to hold on to enough to say, well, what if this is possible? So that makes sense. Can you give us some case studies of just what people have come in with heartbreak or betrayal and things like that, and how hypnosis helped them move through it?
Sure. Heartbreak is quite common. And I'd say probably about 60% of women come to me for heartbreak, and maybe 35% are men.
Hmm.
For some reason, mm, men are able to cope with heartbreak in a different way. Um, at least from my experience. Um, so when women come to me for heartbreak, I want to understand what they want, right? Where are we going, and what that future looks like? Because quite often, when you are heartbroken, you can't possibly think of the future. You're right here, right now. You're experiencing pain, and you are also in the past asking questions. Why did this happen? How? What is he doing? Or why did he do this? So you're right here in that constant, perpetuating pain.
Hmm.
Once I start asking questions about the future, then the client starts to think differently. So you're shifting your perception, you're widening your perception further, and you're beginning to kind of peek into the future. Um, what let's imagine, and sometimes there's resistance because there's the client often goes back, but I'm feeling this way. How will you feel when you have completely let go? What will you be doing? I'll be reading more books. I'll be exercising actually more. I'll go out with my friends. And we want to create a possibility that there is a better relationship. There is someone better coming your way. And what are the lessons that you have learned? This is also very important. What are some of the lessons you have learned from this experience? so that we can incorporate them. And sometimes we don't want to repeat the same mistakes or the same choice. There were times when somebody said, I saw the red flags, but I ignored them.
Hmm.
And so maybe from now on, you want to start trusting yourself more, and trusting your intuition.
Hmm.
Someone said, I went into a relationship too quick, or he reminded me of my parent, and it felt so familiar. So you want to work through that, and really, there is a time a woman would say, I want to take time right now and really find myself. I want to find me before I go into a relationship. This is my biggest lesson. I don't want to be too quick to go into a relationship next time. I want to find me. I want to travel, and pick all the pieces together. So
Hmm.
those are the lessons in the future.
Right. So can you think of someone in particular where they just came in just heartbroken and so stuck and in so much pain, and you did a session with them or two or three, I don't know how many it takes, and then and the difference in how they first came to you and then how they left because of hypnosis?
So I can think of a recent client. She came to me, and there was a breakup. Like I said, she felt beat up with emotionally, and disappointed, and did not want any relationship, and couldn't even fathom the idea of having a relationship in the future, because she was still mourning the breakup. They were together for a long time. Um, and then the other thing in that relationship was that she she felt like he was much more successful than she was, and in the end, she started believing more in herself, that she could pursue something else in her life. She started looking into other professions. She mentioned something about even becoming a police officer, and she felt like, woman can be empowered. I can be empowered. She started seeing her friends having certain jobs, being totally empowered, pursuing their dreams. And her situation was that she was relying so much on her boyfriend, who she was, hoping she would marry, and he was very successful. And instead, she started finding herself. She
Mhm.
started finding herself, and we did a lot of self-esteem suggestions and self-esteem booster to help her believe that more.
So for someone like that to go from this place of complete and total heartbreak to this place of being empowered and wanting to just get to know herself and just move in this whole other direction, what's happening in the brain?
That's a good question. What is happening in the brain? I wouldn't know exactly what is happening in the brain, because I don't think there are even particular studies. Um, I would have to find them, but I would say what's happening in the brain. The possibility is that there's less cortisol, because you're not in that stressed state of mind. I can talk about what's happening in the brain when you are much more relaxed.
That's,
As
yeah,
opposed, yeah,
absolutely.
exactly, yeah, exactly. When you're in a state of hypnosis and more relaxed or more positive. So let's say they are feeling more relaxed, more positive. They're releasing more serotonin and dopamine. The cortisol is leveled, so you're in a much more open state of mind, and even your muscles can be more relaxed, as opposed to being tight. It can cause a headache and pain.
Mhm.
So that's how it works.
So can we do, because it sounds like such a wonderful state where we're almost like bypassing all of our resistance to get to what's underneath and work with that. Is it the kind of thing that we can do on our own? Is self-hypnosis possible?
Certainly, yes, we can definitely practice self-hypnosis, and there are a number of techniques you can use. The simple one could be breathing, just sitting down and breathing from 5 to 10 minutes, and take really deep, long breaths on the count of six. Take a deep breath, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and exhale in 6 seconds. And really fill up your lungs, go all the way into your stomach, and that can immediately help you release as I spoke earlier, the relaxation response and tension in your body, and you'll start thinking much more positive. So that's one technique. Other techniques that I also teach my clients is a simple eye catalepsy technique, where you close your eyes and then you try to open your eyelids. Do this 3 times. That also causes a nice relaxed feeling around your eyelids, and spreading further in your face. Um, and some other techniques like EFT, but I have them on my website. If somebody's really interested, I have more techniques to teach. If you'd like, I can show them.
Yeah. So here's somebody going through self hypnosis. Is there like a certain amount that's the right amount? How do you know if it's enough, too much? Is there a way to know, or is it just by how you feel?
So self hypnosis can be used to relax, and self hypnosis can be used to program your mind, right? So self hypnosis to relax can take anywhere from three to 10 minutes, right? Usually 5 minutes average. So how you know it's working? You're relaxed. Your body becomes relaxed. Your breathing is slowing down, and your the negative thoughts are beginning to subside. That's how you know. This is your sort of like evidence that it is working right here, right now. You're not trying to call the person and trying to text him, or try to chase anyone or anything. You're just right here, right now. You're trusting the moment,
Mhm.
right? It can take 10 minutes if you don't have a lot of experience with self hypnosis, but 5 to 10. And then if you look at self hypnosis as a way to program yourself, it can be again 10 to 20 minutes, because you want to get into that state of relaxation, and then you want to give yourself suggestions. And I advise focusing on average 5 good suggestions, 5 good affirmations that you can give to yourself. You can just recite them silently with your eyes closed. You can also look at yourself in the mirror. Another good way to speak to yourself, to hypnotize yourself, is put your hand on your heart.
Mhm.
Breathe deeply, take 10 deep breaths in and out, and then start speaking to yourself. When you speak to yourself, it's important to feel a bit of vibration in your hand. So maybe you'll want to lower your voice so that there's a really nice vibration. And then you say things to yourself. You are confident. I am moving on. I feel confident. I am moving on. I am worthy. Whatever suggestions that are fitting your experience right now, positive and present tense. I am lovable, and things like that. So, and as you speak the suggestions, they're really resonating with your heart, and you start believing them more.
That really
Right?
makes a lot of sense. And think about it. People say, "Well, I don't want to program myself," but isn't it better for you to program yourself than the programming that we have in us that may not all be to our benefits? So it makes
Yeah.
total and complete sense. I love that. What do you want to make sure everyone knows before we wrap up?
Well, I want everyone to know that you have the power in you. You are empowered, and you can rewrite your story. You can rewrite your story. Whatever happened, you can rewrite your experience. You can also tap into the future by thinking more positive about what's coming your way, and really give yourself that permission to move into the future. And really just practical things like speaking to yourself, like what I showed with your hand on your heart. Sometimes when you are heartbroken, you don't want to do these things, like, this is not working, I don't want to breathe, it's not working, and you keep thinking about the negative thing. All you do is you sit down, keep thinking about a negative thing, you're laying down, you're not doing the exercises. All you need to do is do those practical exercises, and they will help you, because you want to be enjoying life moment to moment, enjoying the cup of coffee that you're drinking, enjoying the sunshine, enjoying the exercise, but really force yourself to do these things, because these exercises, self-hypnosis or yoga, will get you out of that state. But you have to do that. You have to commit to it.
Being present, that's so important. Where do we go to learn more about you?
So you can go to my website, elenamosaner.com, just my first name and last name. And I recently just launched the hypnocloud.com, which is a membership based website. You can have access to all of my 100 self hypnosis audio sessions, workshops, and it's all available as opposed
That's
to buying them in the store. Yes, you can just
That's great.
enjoy
And
them.
can you share that site once again? So it's your name, and we'll have that in the show notes, and the other one where we can download the
Hypnocloud,
hypnosis.
Hypnocloud,
HypnoCloud. Hypno
hypnocloud.com. Mhm.
cloud.com. That's
And there are
wonderful.
some powerful audios for women, for female empowerment. I have some audio sessions for finding your inner goddess, embodying your inner goddess, embracing your feminine, healing yourself, becoming a quality woman. So yes, there's some really awesome sessions.
Oh, that's great. Well, Elena, I want to thank you so much. You definitely opened up our eyes to hypnosis and how we can use it to our advantage to get to heal and to move forward from betrayal and heartbreak and so much more. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Debbie, for your time and interest in hypnotherapy. Thank you.
I learned a lot, did you? I love the idea that we can reprogram our minds. Isn't it better for us to choose the thoughts running through us versus just repeating what someone else intentionally or unintentionally planted there? Stay in touch with Elena by going to elenamosaner.com, and we'll have all of her information in the show notes at thepbtinstitute.com/podcast. Here's my biggest takeaway. When it comes to healing from heartbreak, one, ask yourself, what do you want? And two, ask yourself questions about the future. Create that possibility. What lessons have you learned? And how can that help you as you move forward? Then remember that you can do self-hypnosis through breathing, relaxing your eyes, EFT, or whatever method works for you. As Elena said, you can rewrite your story, and hypnosis and self-hypnosis can help. Of course, what led to the beliefs and experiences takes a toll on your mind, body, and heart. So take the post-betrayal syndrome quiz, which you can find at thepbtinstitute.com/quiz. And have you checked out the PBT Institute membership community? Imagine everything you'd ever need to become your physical, mental, emotional best. Community, support, certified coaches and practitioners you could schedule time with, daily classes on all kinds of interesting topics, curated experts teaching advanced strategies in the areas of health, mindset, spirituality, personal development. Imagine the most friendly, welcoming, and supportive place to become your best, and it's all online. Nothing like this exists, and I am so excited to welcome you. Just go to thepbtinstitute.com/join to learn more. And if you like the show, please subscribe, rate, and review. And of course, if you know of someone struggling to heal from a betrayal, be sure to tell them about the show too. Thanks for listening. Can't wait to be with you next time, and here's to your breakthrough.